Curcumin, Resveratrol, Berberine, quercetin. The store shelves are covered with products, all natural products that come from medicinal plants. I think we really better talk about that. So I'm Dr. Patrick Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. And I want to show you something really amazing. This is a painting that was done by an artist named Georges Seurat in 1884, a Frenchman. And it was called A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte, right? Well, he called it Un Dimanche après-midi à Ile de la Grande Jatte, which I don't know why he called it that. It's French people are hard to understand. Anyway, it's this beautiful painting of people in their Sunday best strolling around on the shores of this lake, and they're having picnics and there's people out sailing in their boats. There's just this lovely, beautiful scene. And the painting was done in a really revolutionary style. It was called Pointillism. In fact, Seurat called it divisionism. And they called it Pointillism or divisionism because the entire painting was made of little individual dots of paint, just not a brush stroke anywhere, not a line, not a wash of background color, just thousands and thousands of little individual dots. And so when you're looking at such an amazing creation, such a wonderful work of art, the most important question is obviously which dot is making this painting so effective, right? I mean, it's probably the green dots. There's a lot of green dots, right? But there's lots of colors of green dots. I'm not sure which color of green. Wait a minute. Maybe it's the white dots. Yeah, it's probably the white dots because if there weren't any white dots, there couldn't be any sails on the little boats, right? And if you can't sail around, that's probably not it. I bet it's the blue dots. Yeah, I bet it's the blue dots because the blue dots are the water, right? And if there's no water, the sailboats, it doesn't matter if they have a sail, right? And so that the blue is obviously more important than the white. And also, none of the nice people are going to come for a picnic or to stroll around next to an empty lake, right? So, the blue dot is obviously the one we want. And so once we decide which the most important dot is, then we can reproduce that dot and we can make paintings of that dot and share it with everybody, right? Isn't that the most beautiful dot you ever saw? Doesn't that just express the whole thing to you, right? Everything that was going on in that painting is right here in this beautiful blue dot. Well, of course not, right? That's the stupidest thing you could ever think. To think that one dot by itself is able to express anything going on in that painting is pretty ridiculous, right? That painting had thousands of dots, all different colors of dots, right? And altogether, they were expressing something. And unfortunately, modern pharmacology is doing the same thing with herbs. Store shelves are full of products like, bottles of curcumin or bottles of berberine or bottles of resveratrol or allicin or silymarin or quercetin. There's dozens and dozens of products that are single chemicals extracted from a medicinal plant. And in producing these products, they're entirely missing the point. Plants are living things, and they're extraordinarily, incomprehensibly complex. And humans are living things, and we're incomprehensibly complex. Our physiological systems, the chemistry that's going on a subcellular level is astonishingly complicated. And scientists are learning stuff. I mean, they're doing studies, and good for them. I love that. I applaud that. And they're learning some of the things about some of the chemicals, and this chemical's doing this, and this chemical's binding with this receptor on this cell and making the cell do that, and that's really cool. But honestly, we're just babes in the woods. We don't begin to understand what's really going on a biochemical level, on a cellular level in our bodies. And isolating a single phytochemical from a plant and declaring that one constituent, that one chemical is responsible for the plant's activity and for all of its benefits is like declaring that, that the reason a Porsche can drive around is because of the wheels, right? And if we all bought a wheel and carried it around with us, we'd have all the benefits of a Porsche, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. The fact is that the root or the bark or the leaf or the berry or whatever the medicinal part of a plant is, that part of that plant contains hundreds of chemicals. And those chemicals don't operate independently of each other any more than the tires on a Porsche operate independently from the ignition of gasoline in the cylinder of the engine block, right? They're all doing things that affect everything else. And each chemical in that plant is interacting with a host of other chemicals. And they're helping it with its function. They're helping it with absorption. They're helping it with digestion. They're helping minimize side effects. They're helping it do what it does sometimes. Berberine, as an example, is a plant from barberry. It's a chemical from barberry. And it's a really good antibiotic. But it's not an antibiotic at all unless it's in company with another flavonoid that's in barberry, right? And so isolating and separating and dividing is missing the point. Let's look at a plant. Let's look at turmeric, okay? So turmeric contains a chemical called curcumin. Really popular, wildly popular. You can buy it anywhere that sells vitamins or food or anything. They're going to have curcumin on the shelf, okay? And it's a great chemical. I mean, it does all kinds of stuff. It's anti-inflammatory. It has all kinds of benefits. And I mean, we get to talk for an hour just about that one chemical and cool things it does. But guess what? Curcumin is a curcuminoid. That's the class of chemical. And turmeric has dozens of them. And all those other guys do things too. And some of them do things curcumin doesn't do, right? And what about the turmerones? Turmeric is full of a whole bunch of other chemicals called turmerones. And they do all kinds of things. And some of them are things curcumin doesn't do. And they likely assist curcumin in doing its work. And what about the polysaccharides? I mean, there's polysaccharides in turmeric too. And they do anti-inflammatory things. They do immunomodulatory things that can help with autoimmune disease and other weird inflammatory conditions. And so, we have all these chemicals just in the one plant. And we could go on and on about them. We could go on and on about each one that we know about. And I promise there's that many more that we don't know about, right? Because some kid working on a PhD didn't choose that chemical to write his thesis on, right? And if we knew every single chemical that science has discovered and researched and described, we'd still be scratching the surface of what turmeric can do for us. It's an amazing plant. And that's true for every medicinal herb on the planet. They're amazingly complex, elaborate systems with hundreds of moving parts. And so my advice is that we stop reducing, we stop dividing, we stop isolating, and maybe we step back and look at this extraordinarily beautiful creation that we have before us, and we use it the way it was designed to be used, right? Maybe we should marvel at the beautiful painting instead of zeroing in on the one dot. Maybe we should drive the Porsche, right? Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. Let's be grateful and reverent and humbled by the astonishing complexity of these medicinal plants. Let's be in awe of what they can do as a whole unit. Let's accept them and use them the way that they were designed and created to be used. And let's let our body take that resource, that astoundingly beautiful, complicated, amazing resource, and use it in the thousands of ways that it knows how to use it. Because we've been ingesting plants and plant chemicals for a really long time, and our body knows all kinds of things about them that scientists don't begin to know. Maybe we should trust the plant. Maybe we should use the plant in all of its completeness, in all of its astonishing complexity, in all of its medicinal, miraculous glory, instead of buying a bottle that the only reason it exists is because somebody can patent it. Let's use the whole plant. Let's be okay with the fact that we don't know everything, and let the plant do what it wants to do, and let our body take from that plant a little of this, a little of that. Oh, that one looks good. Oh, I could really use some of those. Let the body have all the resources it needs. And that is the solution for health and for wellness and for wildly successful use of medicinal plants. I'm Dr. Patrick Jones. If you'd like to learn more about medicinal plants and all the amazing things we kind of know, have a look at the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. I think you'd really enjoy it. But most of all, I hope that you'll think a little deeper about what that root or that bark or that berry really has to offer, and you'll quit cheating yourself by buying individual isolates. I'm Doc Jones. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate some likes. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that. If you know somebody that uses medicinal plants or vitamins or herbs or anything, share the video with them. Maybe it can help them too. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you think about all this. I'm Doc Jones. Have a great day.